Good day, how are you? Today we're going to talk about Lesson 32. And Lesson 32 has to do with the metric system. The metric system is a system that's used all over the world. It was originally discovered or designed in the 1960s, and then was supposedly going to take over all of the nations, and everybody would be using metric by the 1970s. That didn't happen. The United States has adopted it minimally. You see it on all of your canned goods, your pop, your milk, everything's in liters as well as in ounces. We've kind of developed a blended system here in the United States, but we still have to deal with it. The health profession has embraced it entirely, and everything the health profession does is in metric. Metric is a decimal-based system. It's used throughout the world. There are only three main units of measurement, and those units are the meter, which measures length, the gram, which measures weight or mass, and the liter, which measures capacity, and that's most often used for liquid measure. The size of the units of measurement is based to a power of 10 measurement, so I'll explain that more a little bit later, but the smaller the unit is, the more you divide by greater and greater, well, actually smaller and smaller and smaller units of 10, like tenths and hundredths and thousands and so on. Metric prefixes, here's a list of them. You need to put those in your notes. Starts with kilo, and a single unit kilo is 1,000, and abbreviations K. Hecto is 100, and abbreviations H. Deca, 10. And DK. Now, what is 1,000, 100, 10? 1 liter is 10 deciliters. It takes 10 deciliters, and there's 100 hectoliters and 1,000 kilometers. So you're actually multiplying by a power of 10 the higher it gets up, and we'll explain that even more in the next couple of pieces of paper here. It's hard to explain when you're not applying it to a problem. Okay, important facts about metric and converting in metric. When you convert from a smaller unit to a larger unit in metric, you divide. When you convert from a larger unit to a smaller unit in metric, you multiply. Wow, that seems really confusing. So let's take a look at the chart. The chart helps me a lot. Metric was not one of my fortes when I was in high school, and it still is a little foreign to me because I'm an old fart, and so sometimes it takes me a while to get it too. Here, the largest is kilo, hecto, deca, and then this is the unit, grams, meters, liters, and then deci, centi, and milli. And milli is the small, well, milli is a small unit. There are smaller units than milli, nano units, and so on. Those are very, very small. Those are used in scientific, very, very scientific small measurements. You can use a chart to divide or to decide whether you are dividing by a power of 10 or multiplying by a power of 10. Or for some, you just move the decimal to the left or right. I try to remember the order. There's two different sayings that go with it. King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. Or my favorite, which is the one I use in my head, is kids have died over, no. I can't remember. I don't remember. Is that awful? Okay, if I remember, I'll tell you later. Okay. All right, let's get to the examples. For some reason, I can't remember this morning. Okay, 5 kilometers is how many meters? Our chart on the first page says a kilo of anything is 1,000 times the unit. So if you have 5 kilos, then you would have to take 5 times 1,000 to figure out how many meters that is. So it's 1,000 times whatever the unit is, and there's 5 times 1,000 is 5,000. Since 1K is 1,000, then 5K is 5 times 1,000 or 5,000. Here's another way to explain it. 400 centimeters is how many meters? Since 1 centimeter is 0.01 meters, then 400 times 0.01 is equal to 4. Not a bad conversion. A little bit messy. I have another way that I do it that I really think is a kind of a cool way. And I actually learned this way, and I'll teach you here in just a minute or so, but I learned it when I was teaching a nursing class out at the college. They used it all the time, and then I was told later that there was a real name for it, but I didn't know there was a real name for it. 1 liter bottle can hold how many milliliters of soda? 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. Then 1 times 1,000 is 1,000 milliliters. So that's pretty easy. How many 250 milligram tablets of calcium can equal 1 gram of calcium? Well, since 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams of calcium, then we'll divide 1,000 by 250 and find that for 250 milligram tablets equal 1 gram. Okay, there are some standard conversions that we have to be aware of between metric and U.S. customary. 1 kilometer is approximately. This little squiggly line here means approximately. 1 kilometer is approximately 0.6 miles. 1 meter is approximately 1.1 yard. 2.54 centimeters is approximately 1 inch. 1 kilogram is approximately 2.2 pounds. So we take the same things that we were dealing with before. 5 kilometers is approximately how many miles? Well, if 1 kilometer equals 0.6 miles approximately, then you would take 5 times 0.6 and you would get approximately 3 miles. 4 centimeters is approximately how many inches? If 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, then how many inches would 400 centimeters equal? Well, this one's just a little bit difficult because of the way it's set up. So I'm going to use a different method. This is the method I was talking about. It's called the railroad track conversion. And it's pretty slick, and we're going to practice it quite a bit in class as we go on through the book. I set this up so it said 400 centimeters, and we want to know how many inches that is. Well, 400 centimeters over 1 times 1 inch over, in 1 inch there's 2.54 centimeters. Notice centimeters is in the top and the bottom. Cross out the commons, you end up with 400 over 2.54. You do the division, and as it turns out, 400 centimeters is equal to 157.48 inches approximately. If a baby is born 9 pounds, approximately how many kilograms is that? We'll use the same system. 9 pounds to 1 times 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds. Get rid of the commons, equals 9 divided by 2.2, and it's approximately 4.09 kilograms. That railroad system is really, really kind of nice. It does a good job of converting. Celsius and Kelvin is something that we need to be aware of. We don't use Kelvin very often, but we do need to have the facts so that if we have got questions about it, or you have a test question that asks about Kelvin, that you know what it is. The facts between Celsius and Kelvin. Both are used by scientists. Both are centigrade scales because there's 100 gradations between freezing and boiling. On the Celsius scale, 0 degrees Celsius is the freezing point of water. Kelvin scale sets 0 degrees Kelvin at what we would call, or the scientists call, absolute zero, which is really 273 centigrade degrees below the freezing point of water, which is a negative 273 degrees Celsius. Wow. That's really cold. Most of the time, Kelvin is used to talk about very, very, very cold environments, more like space and planets and things perhaps that are done in a lab. It's more, Kelvin is more of a scientific measurement. We don't use it too much. I hope we don't ever have to use it in our daily temperatures. Celsius is more commonly used by the general public. If you look on the bank sides, you will see the temperatures in Fahrenheit, and then they'll be in Celsius, and they'll be Fahrenheit and then Celsius, and that just kind of helps the general public kind of get used to the use of Celsius. Okay, we have one more thing that I want to talk about. Fahrenheit and Celsius are probably the most often compared by the general public.
This is Cookta. Please call the office. This is Cookta.
On Fahrenheit scale, water freezes at 32 Fahrenheit and boils at 212 Fahrenheit, which is a difference of 180 degrees. However, on Celsius, there's only 100 degrees between boiling and freezing. So, an increase of 100 degrees Celsius is an increase of 180 degrees Fahrenheit. So for every degree of change on the Celsius scale, it's equal to 1.8 degrees of change on the Fahrenheit scale, which is really quite significant. If you have like a 30-degree change on the Celsius scale, then that's 30 times 1.8, which is more like 40 or 50 degrees. That's a pretty big change. Alrighty, thank you very much for listening, and we hope to talk to you again soon. Bye.